Hello. If you clicked on this video expecting me as a doctor to reveal 3 magic foods that act like a switch for your erection, I need to start with a truth. A truth that, in my experience, almost no one tells you clearly. For men over 60, the choice of certain light foods, and especially the timing of when you eat them, can indeed help create a more favorable circulatory environment for intimacy. But there are no miracles. What exists is physiology, strategy, and consistency. The secret isn't in 3 secret ingredients, but in the timing and lightness of your last meal of the day. I am Dr. Evelyn Hayes, a urologist from Stanford University, with a doctorate and a fellowship in sexual medicine from Germany. For over 15 years, I have dedicated my clinical practice to helping men, especially those who, like you, are over 60, to understand that male sexual health is a reflection of the body's overall health. It depends on a set of habits, and today we're going to talk about a detail that few people value: strategic nutrition before an intimate moment. What most men do, often without realizing it, is the exact opposite of what their circulation needs. Think about it. You and your partner plan a special evening. To celebrate, you go out to an Italian restaurant or order a loaded pizza at home. A heavy, greasy meal rich in refined carbohydrates and sugar. What happens inside your body? A huge amount of your blood flow, which should be free and available, is diverted to your stomach and intestines to handle a slow, complex digestion. It's as if your body has an orchestra, and instead of all the musicians being ready for the big concert, most of them have been reassigned to carry the heavy pianos and equipment. The conductor, which would be your brain sending signals of arousal, tries to lead, but the main instruments are not in position. The strategy I want to share with you today is the exact opposite: to nourish your circulation, not overload your stomach. This can work for 3 main reasons, which are the foundation of vascular health. First, certain foods provide the raw materials, like nitrates, that your body tends to use to produce an essential molecule called nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as the chemical messenger that arrives at the arteries of the penis and says you can relax, open the floodgates. This relaxation allows blood to fill the cavernous bodies. It's a purely hydraulic event, and nitric oxide is the key that opens the valve. Second, some antioxidants, especially the flavonoids found in certain fruits and cocoa, can help protect the endothelium. The endothelium is the inner wall, the delicate lining of your blood vessels. Over the years, oxidative stress, which is a kind of cellular rust, can damage this lining, making it less efficient at producing nitric oxide. Antioxidants act as a protective layer for this wall. And third, the absence of a heavy digestion and good hydration ensure that your blood has the right viscosity and, more importantly, is available to go where it needs to. When you're dehydrated or when your body is struggling to digest a heavy steak dinner, the blood becomes, figuratively, thicker and preoccupied. Keeping the system light and fluid ensures that blood flow can respond more nimbly to sexual stimulation. That's why the focus is not on foods that guarantee an erection, but on nutritional choices that support vascular health for intimacy. The goal is not the immediate effect of one food, but consciously creating the best possible physiological conditions for your body to respond. So, how can we put this into practice in a simple and sustainable way? I call it a habit stack. There are 3 layers that support each other, and you can start testing them today. The first layer is to include a source of natural nitrates in your routine. What is that? In practice, a small glass, about 5 to 6 ounces of beetroot juice, or a generous handful of dark green leaves like arugula in your last light meal. Why can this help? As I mentioned, beetroot and arugula are rich in dietary nitrates. When you consume them, bacteria in your mouth and enzymes in your body start a process that can convert these nitrates into nitric oxide, and that messenger that helps relax blood vessels. How can you start today? If you opt for beetroot juice, try drinking it at room temperature about 2 to 3 hours before you plan to be intimate. This gives the body time to make this conversion. If you prefer arugula, you can include it in a light salad with a drizzle of olive oil. It's important to take some general precautions. Men with a history of calcium oxalate kidney stones, or those who already have very low blood pressure and use multiple medications to control it, should be moderate and, ideally, speak with their doctor. The second layer is to add a source of flavonoids. What would that be? A handful of blueberries, blackberries, or other berries, or for those who enjoy it, 1 or 2 squares of dark chocolate with more than 70% cocoa. Why can this be beneficial? Flavonoids, especially the anthocyanins in berries and the flavanols in cocoa, work in 2 ways. They can help protect the precious nitric oxide molecules from premature degradation and also have an anti-inflammatory effect that contributes to the health of the endothelium, the vessel walls. How to start today? You can have these fruits as a light dessert after your last meal or eat the squares of dark chocolate a little later as a small treat. The caution here is to always prefer chocolates with the least amount of sugar possible to avoid glucose spikes that are detrimental to vascular function. The third and perhaps most underrated layer is smart hydration. What do I mean by this? Staying consistently hydrated throughout the day and in the hours leading up to your encounter with plain water, natural coconut water, or water flavored with a few drops of lemon. Why is this so crucial? Dehydration, even mild, tends to increase blood viscosity. Thicker blood has a harder time flowing through the small, delicate vessels of the penis. Furthermore, dehydration releases stress hormones that can constrict blood vessels, the exact opposite of what we want. How to start smartly: drink small sips of water throughout the hours leading up to your encounter. Avoid at all costs drinking a large volume at once, right before, as this can lead to the need to interrupt the moment to go to the bathroom. Consistency is key. The general caution here is for men who have potassium restrictions in their diet, such as in certain advanced kidney diseases, who should be mindful of consuming coconut water, which is rich in this mineral. I know what you might be thinking right now. Doctor, but this seems too complicated, or I don't have time for this. The beauty of this strategy is that it doesn't require extra time. On the contrary, it requires a smart swap. Instead of preparing or ordering a heavy meal, you opt for a grilled fish fillet with vegetables or an omelet with an arugula salad. The preparation is even faster. As for the cost, I'm not talking about expensive superfoods or imported supplements. Beetroot, green leaves, seasonal fruits like blackberries or blueberries when available, and good dark chocolate are accessible and can be found in any market. Another common objection is, I already use medication for erectile dysfunction. Will this interfere? This nutritional strategy does not in any way replace your medical treatment. Think of it as a way to prepare the soil. A body with favored circulation, with a healthier endothelium and more fluid blood, tends to respond better to stimuli, including the stimulus from the medication itself. And if you've tried something similar in the past and saw no results, I ask you to reconsider one point. The effect of these choices is subtle and cumulative. It's not like flipping a switch. Consistency, combined with other fundamental factors like a good night's sleep and stress management, is what builds the result over time. In my practice, I see how small changes can create a new perception of well-being. I remember Mr. Davies, a retired engineer from Austin who was 68. He came to the clinic very frustrated, saying he felt desire, but after dinner, his energy and drive would simply vanish. He had a habit of eating pasta dishes with heavy sauces at night. I proposed a simple adjustment. We swapped the heavy dinner for a hearty vegetable soup or a grilled protein with salad. Additionally, he started drinking a small glass of beetroot juice in the late afternoon. After a few weeks, he reported that not only did he feel more energetic in the evening, but he also noticed that the quality of his morning erections, which had become rare, seemed to gradually improve. It wasn't an overnight change. It was a process. Another case that stood out to me was Michael from San Diego, who was 72. He was already using medication for erectile dysfunction on demand, but complained that sometimes it worked well and other times not so much. He was an active man but loved sweets and used to eat very sugary desserts after dinner. I suggested he incorporate the habit of eating a handful of blueberries or strawberries in the late afternoon, and if he wanted a sweet treat at night, to have 1 or 2 small squares of very dark chocolate. Months later, he told me something interesting. He felt that his response to the medication had become more predictable and satisfying. He didn't stop using the medication, but he felt his body was more prepared to respond when he did. It's very important that you understand the limits and the scientific basis of this. The physiology behind nitric oxide and the role of flavonoids in vascular function is very well established in science. There are numerous observational studies and some smaller clinical trials that suggest the benefit of diets rich in these compounds, like the Mediterranean diet, for cardiovascular health. And cardiovascular health is directly, intrinsically linked to erectile function. An erection is a vascular event. However, it is crucial to say that results can vary immensely from person to person. Genetic factors, overall health status, other medical conditions like diabetes and hypertension, and the use of other medications all have an influence. Therefore, this content I share with you is educational. It aims to open your eyes to possibilities and strategies that support your health as a whole, but it never replaces a complete medical evaluation for an accurate diagnosis and an individualized treatment plan for your case. The journey to a satisfying sexual life after 60 goes far beyond what you put on your plate. It involves the quality of your sleep as we regulate our hormones during sleep. It involves stress management as cortisol, the stress hormone, is a potent enemy of an erection. It involves open and honest communication with your partner, reducing performance anxiety. It even involves the way you breathe. Breathing through your nose, for example, increases the production of nitric oxide in the sinuses, which is then carried to the lungs and into the circulation. It's an integrated system. So, how could you apply all of this practically, perhaps tonight or tomorrow? Start simply. Plan your last meal to be light. Maybe a grilled chicken fillet with a large green salad, including arugula. About 2 to 3 hours before bed, if you have no contraindications, try a small glass of beetroot juice. For dessert, opt for a handful of berries. Throughout the afternoon and early evening, keep a bottle of water nearby and take small sips. Observe how you feel. Don't expect a magical change on the first night. Observe your energy, your mood. In the following weeks, if you maintain this practice, start noticing the subtleties. Maybe you'll feel less drowsy after the meal. Perhaps, like Mr. Davies, you'll notice an improvement in sleep quality and morning erections. It's a process of reconnecting with your body's signals. It's about creating an internal environment that invites circulation to function optimally. It's about giving your body the right tools at the right time so it can do the job it knows how to do. And before we finish, I need to be extremely clear and direct about some fundamental safety points. This advice is for men in good general health. It is crucial that men who have had recent heart problems, like a heart attack or unstable angina, those who use anticoagulant medications, or those living with kidney or liver failure, speak openly with their cardiologist or urologist before making any significant dietary changes, no matter how natural they may seem. And please, be attentive to your body's warning signs. If at any time during sexual activity you feel chest pain, sudden shortness of breath, or intense dizziness, stop immediately and seek emergency medical help. Similarly, a sudden loss of erectile function that does not improve or any change in your vision after consuming a new food or starting a new habit are also situations that require urgent medical evaluation. Your safety always comes first. If this approach I've shared focused on creating the ideal conditions in your body instead of searching for a magic solution made sense to you, I would like to ask you to comment with the number 1 below. If for some reason it didn't resonate with you or seems like something that doesn't apply to your life, you can comment with the number 0. I enjoy reading the comments and knowing which city and state you're watching from. And if you believe this conversation can help a friend or a brother who is also in this phase of life, please share this video. The journey to aging with health, vitality, and a satisfying, intimate life is built with quality information, small, consistent habits, and, above all, kindness and patience with yourself. Your body remembers how to respond. Sometimes it just needs you to create the right environment for it. Consistency will always trump intensity. Take care.